Howdy race fans, welcome to my little show about racing I like to call In the Pits with me, StockCar Scott. And as always, In the Pits is brought to you each week when I feel like it by Monte Carlo Express Delivery. Monte Carlo Express Delivery serving the Puget Sound area for over a decade. Please like us on Facebook. Okay, racing began on Friday as always, but there was nothing on television, at least nothing I could see, and I'd even taken the day off, a little mental health day there from the mean streets of Seattle, but there was nothing to watch on television. But practice out at Evergreen came on soon enough on Fans Choice TV there on the computer. It was a little hard to follow with no sound and no leaderboard, but I had it on until we left out to go see the racing for the evening there on the big 5/8 mile track. Upon arrival, we learned fast time of well over 40 different super late models was laid down by the number 26 Ford of fellow Southerner Bubba Pollard. He's from a small place in Georgia just south of Atlanta, kind of close to the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It seems he did well at the Winter Showdown at Kearns County Speedway in California earlier this year and had an extra $10,000 in incentives to win there at Evergreen's Speedway's Summer Showdown. And that was on top of the $25,000 going to the weekend's winner. But more about Bubba later. The first order of business was a 30-lap mini stock feature by a field of 10 cars, including young Brittany Zamora of Kennewick in her first race on the Evergreen 5/8 mile in her number 52 Mustang. She started on the second row but fell back as she gained experience on the largest track she has yet driven. She acquitted herself nicely with a ninth place finish and an intact race car. The race played out as mini stock as all of the mini stock features have this year, with the number 24 Volkswagen Rabbit racing through the field to win. To win again. Another win. I think he's up to 6 victories this season. Seems young Trenton Moriarty is well on his way to another champion in the Foster Press mini stocks. Dale Krieger in his number 21 was the first car that couldn't catch Moriarty, followed by Scott Burby in his number 41 Mustang that usually can't catch Moriarty. I think they said that Evergreen that this kid has already won over $3,500 racing mini stocks this season, an almost unheard of feat. Next up was the Les Schwab street stock 30-lap main with, I do believe, a baker's dozen of cars there at the lineup. Champion Roger Drake led most of the race on the 5/8 mile, chased by number 12 Chad Fitzpatrick and the 85 or 53 Camaro, depending on how you looked at it, of Daryl Lutovsky. Okay, but Chad, unfortunately, he fell off and was passed by Lutovsky after a late caution and a restart. Drake fought off Daryl for quite a few laps there to be victorious, and number 68 Carl Davidson passed Fitzpatrick on the very last lap to move up to third place for his finish. Following the Les Schwab street stocks were 3 heat races to set the field for Saturday night's super late model Summer Showdown 200 lap feature. 15 cars lined up for each of the first 2 heat races, but only 13 came out for the last race. The top 8 finishers transferred to the main. The first heat was dominated by number 26, Bubba Pollard of Georgia, and number 37, Mike London of Moxie, Washington, came in second. The second race belonged to Jason Frazier of Snohomish, Washington, in his number 31 Chevy, with Ryan Wells of Montana in second, and Monroe's Kelly Mann finishing third there in the second heat race. In the last heat race, that was led wire to wire by Natchez, Washington's number 10, Owen Riddle, followed by young Spokane winner of the Idaho 150 a few weeks ago there, number 16, Blake Williams, and in third, the 43 of Derek Thorne from California, who is a regular in the K&N Pro West Series, and we'll probably get to see him again this August when they return. All of the buzz in the pits after the race was about who was up for provisionals and who was going to have to time in and who would have to take their chances in the last chance qualifier race on Saturday. Saturday morning there was Sprint Cup, late morning, early afternoon. Sprint Cup qualifying was on Fox Sports 1. Dale Jr. was 20th in the first round, so he didn't move up to the second round. A.J. Allmendinger landed on the pole using his experience he's gained from road racing and other series like the IRL. He used that there at Sonoma to win the pole. Kurt Busch was on outside pole because, you know, he's just that good. Jeff Gordon qualified 5th for his last race at his home track there in Northern California. Also Saturday, I watched a little Fans Choice TV to try to keep up with the evergreen goings-on there while I readied for the trip out to Monroe. It seems I did not prepare well enough. So we got to the track late enough to miss the first 20 laps or so of the last chance qualifier. I didn't get to see Tim McDougall's number 68 Toyota, but I found out later that his night ended terrible and early. Andy Soul, another racing friend I would really like to see do well, didn't transfer out of the hooligan race. Only 6 did transfer, so Greg Scott, another one of my favorites, didn't transfer. Naima Lang, he took his 00 that had gotten beat up the night before and drove it right to the front. And he was first. The number 26 of Jason Cooey, local number 26, was second. And crowd favorite Molly Helmut in her number 90 was third. Also transferring into the big race in fourth was Puyallups' John Lathrop Jr. And 2 other folks that transferred were the number 30 Tyler Baker and number 86 of Tom Barrow, a couple of Canadians. Then came the 40-lap main for the Northwest Pro 4 Alliance. They had a really nice car count of 18 various types of 4-bangers out there. My favorites are the ones that just look like late models. No real modifying. It was a good warm-up race, but they had a few too many cautions there. The race was won by Northwest Pro 4 Alliance points leader Rick Thompson in his number 16, followed by Bud Rumsey in second, John Grosvenor in third, and Max Schroeder in fourth. Finally, after the grandeur and introductions, the big Summer Showdown 200-lap feature got underway with Georgia boy Bubba Pollard on the pole and local hot shoe Jason Frazier beside that their Southern invader. I don't know what happened to Blake Williams, who should have started 6th, but I guess he had engine problems. The big race was barely 2 laps in when a most fortunate and possibly avoidable incident involving several of the front runners happened there when Daniel Moore's number 16 grocery outlet late model there blew an engine, and when the engine blew, it laid down fluid there in its final moments there in turn 3, and this brought on the final moments of the race for Jason Frazier, Owen Riddle, Tyler Tanner, Donnie Wannett, Jeff Knight, and Mike Longton. 7 cars and drivers beside the car that blew up out of the big $25,000 to win Summer Showdown after only 2 laps. And unfortunately, all of those guys had a chance to win. And that wreck really did not need to happen. But I see early wrecks all the time because, you know, you can't win the race on lap 2, but you can most assuredly lose it that early. On our honeymoon, my wife and I saw the big one early during a bush race at Talladega that destroyed all but a half dozen of the field. Back then, that was like 42, 43 cars. I never like to say that a race is boring, but all the excitement of that one happened at the beginning. That is not how it happened Saturday night, though. Some of the most promising drivers' efforts had been compromised by the early wreck, but that gave a chance for other drivers like Taylor Riddle, who had a great run a few months ago in the Tucson in the Chili Willy, to challenge the good old boy from Georgia who had come up to take all the money. Other serious challengers during the race came from K&N West Series regular there, Derek Thorne in his number 43, and local Central Washington 4-time NASCAR Northwest Elite Series champion and legend in his own mind, what's his name, from Wenatchee, in his blue 64 car. One of the most fun parts of the evening, though, was when Molly Hellmuth made a mid-race charge to the front in her number 90 that had the whole grandstand on their feet cheering for the young lady. She made it up to 4th until the run was ended by a get-together with one of the Canadian drivers in dreaded turn 3. Actually, all 4 turns of the Evergreen 5/8 mile are fairly dreadful. The other driver was put to the back, but Molly's race was over because her car was tore up. That was the story for nearly half of the drivers by the halfway break, so only 18 drivers made it out to the restart for the second half of the 200-lap race. Bubba Pollard led the smaller field to the green again as the second half cream had risen to the top, with drivers like Kelly Mann, Parker Stevens, and Taylor Riddle joining the battle up front. Late in the race, a charging Riddle was able to pass the visitor from Georgia, but while Taylor used up his tires, Bubba had not. And with 16 laps to go, Pollard was able to retake the lead from Riddle and then fend off challenges on, fend off challenges from a last lap, 5 lap to go restart that left what's-his-name in second and Derek Thorne of California in third. Because Bubba Pollard won the Winter Showdown earlier this year at Kearns County Speedway in California, he picks up an extra $10,000 bonus for a total of $35,000 for his work this weekend. And I can't help but wonder how much he spent to win that $35,000. Of course, after the big race, I went to back in the pits to get the lowdown and to visit with a bunch of my race fan friends, and so got lots of shout outs this week. But I want to start with Sean, a recent addition to my crazy little world here that came over from Yakima to watch his Central Washington favorites there. So welcome, Sean. Also shout outs to April, Tim, Josh, Mike, Rod, Jana, Molly, Andy, Mike, Kelly, Kenny, Toby, Zach, Ralph, Linda, Gary, and Tyler. It was good to see all of you, and good to see all the race fans that if I didn't get around to saying shout out there. I also appreciated the updates from South Sound Speedway from Marilyn and Mike, and congratulations to Sean Jones on his first limited late model win down at the 3/8 mile track. Once, let's see, Sunday the next day, it was time for Sprint Cup at Sonoma, and unfortunately at the same time live in Winchester was ARCA racing. So I just recorded the ARCA race and finally had a chance to watch it all the way through as I was working on the script today. So I do know that Austin Lane Self won for the first time this season, and also the first time in his ARCA career. And points leader Grant Enfinger, my favorite driver from South Alabama, was second, and that also keeps him in the points lead. I also captured the ARCA race from last week in Chicagoland off of Fox Sports 1 last week, and I hope to find time this week to watch it sometime soon anyway. About half the way through the ARCA race at Winchester, the Sprint Cup race at Sonoma started down in California. A.J. Allmendinger was on the pole next to Kurt Busch, but he had trouble that kept him from a good finish. A.J. Allmendinger really should be strong, a strong threat when NASCAR goes road racing again later this summer at Watkins Glen. Kurt Busch ran well all day and finished where he started in second, but for the first time ever in both of the Busch boys' careers in Sprint Cup, they finished 1-2 to each other, and this with the Toad winning. Now all the Toad has to do is get up in the top 30 in points to get into the chase for the Cup. Personally, something I wish does not happen, but we will see. Dale Jr. did well for his 20th place start, working his way up to 7th, and I understand he is getting better at road racing, but I'm glad that this was not the year that we finally traveled down to see racing at Sonoma. Let me get me a quick drink out of my Sterling glass. Next Sprint Cup race is Sunday evening on regular NBC Channel 5. The Xfinity race is the evening of Independence Day on NBC Sportsnet. Also at Daytona, both Sprint Cup and Xfinity Racing finish out their seasons on these two channels, and I'm thinking NBC Sports really wants to make me happy, because all this week in the evenings, NBC Sportsnet is showing classic NASCAR races. Monday was 2 Homestead races from 10 and 11 years ago. Then Tuesday was 2 Brickyard races from 10 and 15 years ago. Today was an old Martinsville race and another Brickyard. Then tomorrow, my favorites will be 2 Dale Jr. Daytona victories from July of 2001 and February of 2002. Plus, today was the K&N Sonoma race won by David Mayhew, and tomorrow NBC Sportsnet is showing Wheeling Modifieds. So they really want to make old StockCar Scott here a loyal viewer. Do you think? Do you think? Anyway, also NBCSN this holiday weekend is the Formula One Grand Prix of Great Britain at Silverstone. This is Lewis Hamilton's home track, so I am expecting only good things. We will see early in the Sunday morning after all of the fireworks of Saturday night. And the fireworks we plan to see this weekend will be at South Sound Speedway, as we have enjoyed fireworks there in the past several years, and we have been very satisfied with our decision to go there for fireworks. Also for racing. So at this time, I would like to suggest locally that everyone go to a race with a fireworks display like South Sound or Evergreen this weekend, or go to a professional display and forego, please, home fireworks displays this year. It is just too dry. And I hope everyone in this most parched of states does the right thing and gives the fireworks a rest this year. But for those who decide to join the Legions of Boom, please, please do it safely. Remember, you don't get a do-over with safety. Yes, I will be going to South Sound Speedway for a patriotic night of racing and fireworks. Racing starts around 6:30 in the evening there with bumblebees, Super 4s, hobby stocks, mini stocks, and the big super late model Firecracker 125. You know Kelly Mann will be there along with Bob Presley, Luke Silicon, Tommy Elstone, and hopefully last year's winner Parker Stevens will make the show. It would also be nice if Greg Scott, another one of my new favorites, could make it maybe, and fan favorite Jessica Dana. Hopefully she'll be able to come out. But when it comes to the fireworks display, these guys put on one of the best local fireworks displays in the area. It lasts for like a dozen minutes or so, and it's very entertaining. Evergreen is also having fireworks, as well as a demolition derby, a bus race, bump to pass, rollovers, outlaw figure eights, stinger eights, hornets, drift X. Y'all have to explain that one to me. And Mr. Dizzy, you don't have to explain that to me. So you know with Mr. Dizzy there, something is going to get blown up. So I just hope they don't tear up the track. But wherever you go, whatever you do, have a safe and happy Independence Day. And also, I hope my first favorite driver ever, favorite NASCAR driver, Sterling Marlin from Columbia, Tennessee, back-to-back Daytona 500 winner. I hope he had a very, very happy 58th birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Sterling. That's why I got on my Sterling stuff tonight and got the Sterling cars over here. So happy birthday, Sterling. I hope he is still racing somewhere. I hear that he occasionally runs the Nashville Fairgrounds there. Sterling was always good at Talladega and Daytona is where NASCAR it will be this weekend on NBC and NBC Sportsnet, where I've been, watching the old races that they've been showing that have Sterling driving the old Coors Light Dodge there. So I feel certain with them showing stuff like this that NBCSN will be showing replays. Don't forget it's on there. But with the replays, hey, we can go out and enjoy our local racing and not have to worry about it at all, folks. So, go out and see local racing this weekend. Go out and see local fireworks at your racetrack. That's where I'll be, South Sound Speedway, because I'm StockCar Scott, and this is In the Pits. Until next week, folks, thank you for watching.